Welcome back, everyone, to another session of Crituitous RP. We are so very grateful for you all to be back. Now, before we jump into our adventure, we have a few things we'd like to cover. First of all, a great big shout out to all of the wonderful followers that we have. Thank you so much for all of your support by sharing us around with other people and following us. We have a bunch of new members of the family. I hope Ty and Laney get sorted out soon, but and I hope they're okay. But I'm going to quickly read out and give a shout out to to all of our new family members, our new followers. We have Greater_Nater, Slajso, Freds J3, Jalonzo, XLacker_5, Jam SXM, Sildari, and Monothal. So thank you very much to each of you for having followed us. We greatly appreciate it. If you like what we do, please share us with other people so that we can get that follower count climbing. Reminder, when we hit 500, we're going to do something special, but we're not sure what we're going to do yet. So send us your thoughts. Tell us what we should do, and contact us via Twitter. We are at Crituitous RP, and you can follow us on Tumblr at crituitousrp.tumblr.com, right? Yes, that's the one. Oh, awesome. Now, particular shout out to the Tumblr right now, because every week our previous week's worth of Campfire RP is thrown up on Tumblr. This past week, however, if you were part of our Patreon and supporting us, you would have been able to read along as things were getting a little bit heated within the Campfire RP. We would like to quickly sum up, and I think there's no one better to sum up than kind of a mix between Grigori and Averine. What happened this week in our Campfire RP?
So this is one of the advantages to being on our Patreon. You get to read this. We don't always summarize it because it's not always as necessary to understand what's going on. But this week in particular, you would have been benefited to be on Patreon. So as you may recall, there was the issue of Grigori sucking Zola's life out of her at the end of our last session. And when the party rested then in RP, Grigori was concerned about Zola, talked to her a bit, and decided he needed to figure out what was going on. So he decided to go and talk to Averine and ask about what this was that he had, this boon. Averine, should I just describe it, or do you want to go from there?
You're doing a great job.
All right. Averine did not take too kindly to the villainous, duplicitous tiefling devil who loves Asmodeus. So she thinks he's full of it and let him know as much and pretty much dared him to go outside and tell the whole world he didn't love Asmodeus in exchange for help. Got a little personal. Some words were said. There was a moment where people weren't certain if Grigori and Averine were going to start chucking spells at each other, and everyone was on edge. Grigori, seeing no benefit to that, though, politely declined the invitation to go out and forswear allegiance to any particular god. So Averine explained a little bit to Tower, with Grigori overhearing. She still thinks he's full of it. People got a little on Averine's case about being so aggressive, which ticks her off because Averine's the good guy here. She's the one explaining how bad this guy is. And why is everybody telling her to chill out? So she stormed off a little bit to get some space. Zola went after Averine to make sure she didn't do anything silly or get in any trouble while she was gone. And everyone else is quietly sitting in the hut in kind of a heavy, tense silence. And then out of nowhere, Carmen starts singing a little song about sucking the life out of you to break the tension. And that's where we're at.
Okay. So tensions are high. The party are rubbing against each other in this situation. So, previously on our adventure, our heroes exploring more about the city of Omu. Zola managed to trick a bunch of Yuan-Ti into leaving them alone, which was impressive. And as part of that conversation that she had with them, she gave the Yuan-Ti purebloods her name to pass on to Raz NC, the supposed leader, bad guy of the Yuan-Ti, camped out within Port Nines, within the city of Omu. Continuing to explore, we delved through a couple more of the shrines to the trickster gods, collected more of those little cubes, had fun little times of Grigori falling multiple times. And ultimately, we sparked that issue with Grigori having to feed off of Zola for a while. We ended the session as the party had left a campsite that they had found, a campsite that apparently belonged to an old set of, another set of adventurers that called themselves the Company of the Yellow Flag. I believe. Yellow Banner. There we go. Company of the Yellow Banner. The party didn't see bodies. So no one died at the campsite, but there is evidence of people having slept and lived there. So now they come to an understanding that there might even be another set of adventurers in the city of Omu somewhere, also trying to loot the place. So we ended with everyone inside the little hovel underneath ruins. There was a hollowed out ruin that actually went underground for a time. The party camped out there in the hut and then had a long rest, I believe. And then we rejoin at the end of the long rest as the sun is beginning to shine up. You guys...
Well, I guess that depends. Averine kind of left before people were too nappy time, so we may not all be in the small hut depending on that.
Averine, would you have gone anywhere other than outside the little underground bunker you have?
I would have walked away and then come back after a few minutes of calming down before watches took place.
Mm-hmm. Well, on this evening, you do your various watches, but nothing seems to occur overnight. In the morning, we jump back to the map of the city of Omu, indicate where you currently are. There we are. You can see you. So, what would you guys like to do on this particular day?
I have a question for Uthbert.
Yes.
Uthbert, I was rereading this letter that we found on found in the campsite of the Yellow Banner, and their patron makes mention of the tomb of the 9 gods. Now here we are traipsing all over Omu looking at their shrines, but what does it mean, tomb of the 9 gods?
Would you like to see it?
I don't not want to see it, but could you tell me what it is before we go see it?
Well, quite simply put, there is a hole in the side of the cliff north of us, door, and it is what is believed to be the tomb of the 9 gods.
That is a very literal description of what of the answer that I was asking. Do you mean to suggest that the 9 gods of the shrines we're visiting are buried in the mountain?
According to my studies, my understanding, the 9 gods were a group of spirits that took physical form of that of creatures from around the city of Omu. They were actually beings that watched over the people here in Oval. And then they died. They disappeared. It is believed that this is their tomb, and that the tomb holds the key, or at least the shrines hold the key to get into the tomb. But the tomb is where, well, so many great treasures can be found. It's a god's tomb.
9 gods,
Should be
to
good.
be exact.
Yes.
So these gods of the shrines that we're visiting, they're dead and deceased and no longer reaching out and affecting people on the material plane. Is that your understanding? Or what happens to the followers of the dead gods?
I've never been that involved in magics. There have been stories, cases of gods disappearing for a time in the past. Their followers still worshipped. They just had less power. I doubt you'll find any worshippers of the 9 gods here. It's been too long.
But just to recap, we seek to get in to that tomb of the 9 gods. That's what all these puzzle pieces are for. Is that right?
That's the truth. What I was hired by Razen C to do was help collect all these cubes and get his people through that door.
It seems like a rather complicated means of entry. Who devised this idea that, the door is locked? Okay, fine, that's all well and good to a tomb. But in order to gain entry into the tomb, it's not that you say a password or have a single key, that you have to go find 9 different pieces. It seems convoluted.
Well, there have been cases of people in the past testing their followers' capabilities before granting them access to certain knowledges. Gods who will test you and then reward you for having completed the test accurately. Have you ever experienced such a test?
Sure. Ubtao has presumably had tests laid out before us. But if the gods who were collecting their shrines and are collecting their puzzle pieces are buried in a tomb, presumably the tomb didn't exist before they died,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's just a piece that I'm missing of the puzzle, so to speak, and I don't know if you have the answer.
But you make a good point. If the gods are buried there, who built the tomb?
Aye, this is generally what the direction I'm getting at.
I don't know who this third benefactor might be. It could very well be Ubtao, angered that his people followed false gods after him in his distance while he was away. He killed them, locked them in a tomb, and then hid access to the tomb all over the city. That could be possible.
How does Averine feel about this? The likelihood of that scenario.
Roll an insight check.
22.
It doesn't really fit with the legend of the 9 gods. Because according to the legend of the 9 gods, Unk finally convinced Ubtao to cry, and that gave life back. So it didn't seem like Ubtao was at odds with the 9 gods, according to the legend. If someone killed the 9 gods out of anger, Well, they wouldn't then make it a challenge to get to them. They would just lock them up. So some other person probably did that, killed the 9 gods, put them in the tomb, set the traps for people to find.
Okay, so I'll just do a slow nod, thinking this guy's crazy.
But would you like me to show you the door?
Well, you pointed it out earlier. It's up in the north, isn't it?
Aye, up against the cliffside.
Well, I believe there is a shrine on the way. Perhaps we'll hit the next shrine before. Should we go to the shrine to the north? I'm asking the party.
Sounds reasonable.
Grigori gives you a small glare, doesn't bother to answer you.
Alvin will give Grigori a nudge. Be nice. Be nice.
We of course are trying to gather the puzzle pieces, and we will go together. All of us. Averine, looking at her.
That's what I said.
Then that's all.
Right. Then, as you guys leave your protection of this basement that you're in, you pack up all of your items, you dismantle your camp, you start making your way through this. Now, you guys are aware now. You have Razin sees Yuanti, some other group of individuals. Razin sees Red Wizards, some other group of Red Wizards, and now there's another adventuring party. There are 4 parties other than you in the city. So what precautions are you guys taking whilst moving through the ruins of Omo?
Well, I'm taking point, and I'm going. I'll see everything. It's fine. Tower will cast Pass Without Trace.
Zola should perhaps go first as our leader and owner, should we encounter any other Yuan-Ti. Maintain that ruse.
I don't necessarily think that every leader leads, like, physically. Many leaders, especially in combat situations, stay towards the back in order to give commands in safety.
Whatever you say, Master. Gives a little nod.
Okay. All right.
And I'll be sneaking too.
So, stealth checks from those that are sneaking, which I think is everyone.
What was today? And stealth for P-Jar.
Ciao. No day.
No, that's fine. It's plus 10.
Okay. So, you guys stealth out pretty well, pretty effectively. But perception checks from everyone.
Ooh.
As you're making your way through the jungle, not the jungle, but through the ruins up towards that shrine.
Grigori is still so mad about what happened the other day, he can't focus on anything but his own malcontent.
Okay, wow. Some pretty good perception rolls there. We got a 22 from Zola, 21 from Averine. We won't discuss Grigori. 21 from Carmen. So, as you guys are making your way up towards this shrine, you start hearing conversation. You hear what sounds like the creaking of a wagon's wheel as it's being pulled along through the ruins. It's creaking, and you hear a few crashes as it's hitting over ruins. And then you hear some shouts. Not shouts, but rough and conversation between a couple individuals, clearly not trying to hide themselves as they're making their way towards you. The conversation just is casual. It's talking about the shrine. One individual says to the other, "Oh, I wouldn't have thought it would have been that difficult to get the puzzle cube out of that location." And then another responds, "Yes, but it's only one of 9." So, what would you guys do as you hear this group walking through the ruins?
Does Grigori hear it at all, or am I just plowing forward?
No. Grigori doesn't hear it. Everyone except Grigori hears it.
What
I'll catch him by
direction-
the back of his robes and pull him back with us before he goes on. It's like there are people up ahead.
What direct is it coming from? Up ahead, or to the side, or behind us?
You've got a big mass of ruins just all around you. It's roughly from the, I want to say, northwest of your current position. If you were headed around to go towards the, because you guys were making a point to avoid that long platform. You're moving around towards the east side of the shrine to come at it that way. These guys are coming around from the west. They're not coming along that platform, but they are moving through the ruins.
And so one could assume that they just got the puzzle piece that we are currently seeking.
Potentially, yes.
Ooh.
The early bird catches the worm.
How do you know that one? And no other metaphor.
We have
PG
many-
told him.
Oh, okay.
I like worms.
Do we think they could have the cube then? Do we need to stop them? Can we spy?
I suggest that we do not give away our presence, given that we have more than one cube. They cannot complete their mission. And so they will continuously wander around searching for us at the end of everything. And that's when we can decide what to do with them.
Well, we should at least see who it is. There are many different actors here. We don't know who they may be.
We may lose in the future, or Raz and C's people may find them first.
That's fine too. He's got one of the last cubes, so we'll have to find him anyways at some point.
What do you think, Zola, about sneaking up to them and just taking the cube without them knowing?
That sounds brilliant.
You could do it. You've
I'm
got the
nodding at her.
skills.
Okay. All right. If this is the mission that you give to me, I will take it.
Okay.
If you
So
get in
Zola-
trouble, just yell.
Zola, you're going off by yourself. Okay.
How far away are they?
Have towers shadow
Uh,
you, perhaps about 20 to 30 feet behind you at any given time. We'll stay here and yell if you need us.
If you get caught, just look really sad and just be like, I'm on my own, I just need some food, and just pretend you pickpocket for food or something.
I'll see what I can do. I might just if I fail, I might just run away. People can't catch me.
Okay. They're about 100 foot northwest of your current position. So are you going alone, or is someone going with you?
Do you
I
wish to follow?
I would ask for a second to keep an eye out. Maybe don't get so close. Maybe like stay back about 50 feet.
I will become Panther and follow you from a distance.
Perfect.
Do you maintain pass without trace while you're a panther?
Yep.
Yes.
So I put my hand on Zola's shoulder. Go with the blessings of the Magister.
Thanks.
Okay. Then I'm going to move Zola and Tower off to this side here, because we got a map for this.
If I run away, should I bring them back this direction, or should I take them some other direction?
If you want me to kill them, bring them back this way.
Okay, I'll go the other direction.
No. Bring them back over here. We want to contain it as much as possible if it goes foobar.
Okay.
We can talk them down in numbers if it comes to this. We do not have to spill blood, just sheer weight of power will suffice.
Tower tie. Very quickly, just need to let you know I made a slight change to your wild shape buttons. Now instead of pushing out a link, it pushes out a box that says the type. Click on character sheet, pops up the character sheet. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got it.
Okay. Sweet. All right. So, as the two of you make up, still using your pass without a trace, you can rely on your current stealth checks or re-roll. It's up to you. We would have a 21 from Tower, and what was Zola's? And a 39 from Zola. So,
I am Omu.
I think advantage as a panther, do I? I just get a pretty good stealth roll.
are you going to re-roll? Okay,
Huh?
sticking with what you've got.
I'll still with
Okay.
21. I'm not rolling very well so far.
So,
I'm staying
move
back.
you over to the map. You guys sneaking through the ruins, sneaking around the buildings. You will catch a glimpse, but I need of some individuals, but I need a perception check to see if you see all of them.
Yeah.
I have a 24. Okay. See how well this fellow does with his stealth.
I can smell them.
Yes, and that would give you advantage. It would give you 23. But this guy's nope. That was a pretty bad stealth roll, but it's his fault for being a drow in the middle of a burning hot jungle. So. You see a curious group of adventurers, all similarly dressed in typical adventuring gear. Like you guys were given some different colourful adventuring gear that was better for the jungle. These guys had done the same, but then they had made sure that all of them had a single yellow sash that went right across their chest, just to help them to be clarified as the order of the yellow banner. However, so what you see is a drow who is climbing from building to building, trying to be stealthy, but failing. You see a half-dragon leading the pack with a human gladiator by his side. The gladiator gives you almost images of Shargo with the way that he holds himself and his sword and spear and shield. They are followed by a female elven wizard, or at least mage-like individual with her robes, and the wagon that's following them. Now, this is a new contraption that I don't think any of you have ever seen before, but this wagon almost seems to be moving of its own accord, and it looks like someone has put a ballista on wheels and allowed the ballista to move by itself. So, what do you guys do? They don't see you quite well. You guys are more than hidden enough as you approach this group of 4 plus a construct.
Which direction are they walking?
They're walking south of this current direction.
Okay, well, I would like to get into a position where we get ahead of them in their path.
Okay. You can easily slink around through the ruins and come around underneath if you wish.
It's like that is that the appropriate direction?
That's the direction that they're headed, yes.
Okay. So I gotta think about which one might have the cube. Do any of them look like they're holding bags of holding or any kind of bags that they're emphasizing physically?
What they've done is they've more or less overloaded this construct, this ballista, with all of their equipment. You see 4 individuals worth of bags and packs attached to the back end of this ballista.
Great. Okay. So here's the idea: is I'm going to stay hidden, and when the ballista starts to pass, you see all the shrubbery that I'm in. I'm going to roll stealthily out of the shrubbery and then latch myself onto the bottom of the construct.
Okay. Let's do this. All right. So they start moving through. You guys are hiding where you are. Now, hiding up against the side of the building, you've got the shadows that the Panther is providing you. Yes?
Quick question. I'm imagining that the construct has a whole bunch of... it's got a chassis with some spaces in between it where the gears are moving and stuff. So there's actually, if I was very careful about it, I might be able to use parts of the construct in order to hide.
Yes.
Okay.
Looking by the way it is, the bottom contraption seems to be just simply structural, but there's so much going on above that if you're stood, unless you're stood down checking the wheels, there is a good chance that you can hide just simply inside the construct.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Now the question is whether or not the construct would notice someone suddenly grab onto it. Is the construct sentient? We'll see. All right. So they begin making their way down. You guys hide. You've already rolled stealth checks. I'm fine with those. But the crew are going to start getting closer to your current position. The wagon follows behind the group simply because it takes a while to lumber over each of the ruins. As they make their way past, Zola, roll an acrobatics check. Let's see if you can slide under there. Nice. All right. You're holding on. Now, this is over rocky terrain, so it's going to be difficult. There may be times where you get jostled about a bit, but...
Well, since it's in the back and I'm already on it, I'm going to start to move around to that portion on the backside with all the gear, and I'm going to stuff myself into all that gear.
Okay.
Right away.
The drow will hop down. Now, as you continue to move out, what's the Panther doing?
As the drow jumps down, I'm going to act like a startled cat, roar in protest, and then seeing this scene, I'm going to bolt to the corner and then turn and to see if they will follow me.
Still got shadows coming out of you?
No, I'd have dropped it.
Okay.
I'm dropping it.
She's
got a high enough. I know she's got a high enough roll anyway, right? I'm trying to cause a distraction now. So I am. I've actively taken my bonus action. No, I haven't got a bonus action dash because I'm not thinking. I'm taking my movement and I'm holding my bonus action dash. Not my bonus action. I'm holding my action to dash.
Holding your action to dash.
All right. As soon as they start, if they rear up at me, I'm gonna run bolt around the corner like an animal would if it was being startled.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Roll a deception check. You're trying to pretend to be an actual cat.
Well, he is an actual cat.
Uh,
He should get advantage.
You want Tower's deception or do you want the cat's deception?
since you keep your charisma score in wild shape, either one will do.
Come on, give me advantage. Come on, I am an actual cat. Why would anybody think I'm not
That
a
is true,
cat?
Watching you for a moment, the drow is what catches your glimpse. Now, looking at this drow, he's taken steps to keep the sunlight out of his face. He's wearing a fairly wide-brimmed hat. He's got some goggles that are turned up right now. And he just stops and looks at you as you pounce away. Staring for a second. He then mutters something under his breath and then starts walking away.
Okay.
They ignore you. And the crew still continue to move south with Zola on them. Zola, what are you doing while you're in there?
I will begin to very stealthily and quietly rifle through their crap.
Okay. So you're going to have to roll a stealth check to see how quiet you can be, and an investigation check to see if you can find the objects quickly.
You do have a D4 from guidance.
Yep.
And I can only apply that to one skill check, right?
One.
Correct.
Okay.
Doesn't guidance say specifically the next one? Or
No.
just once?
Just once.
Yeah. Okay. So you are able to adequately keep yourself hidden while you're rifling through the bags. The 16. It takes you a bit of while. The crew actually make their way another 100 foot or so before you finally manage to find the pack that has the cube in it.
Tower's gonna
It
be
is
paid.
a simple, yeah, okay. It is a simple pack, but you notice that there's a whole lot of other stuff in these packs. As you're rifling through, these guys have quite the hoard. There
Rubber
is
chicken.
gold, silver. There appears to be quite a few shiny items, I want to say.
Nine.
I have my eye on the
Okay.
prize. This
Eye
is
on the
a
prize.
mission. I have my priorities.
Okay, fair enough. Then you grab it, and to get away, because are you getting away now?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a reverse back under the chassis, and then as soon as we pass a nice thick bush, I'm gonna roll back underneath it.
Okay, one more stealth check.
Mm.
With advantage because I don't know she's
Cunning action dash.
cause a distraction.
Yeah, with Tower, can I see her?
No, you can't. You can't get a bad roll and then say, "Oh, I would have been closer than I would have."
Oh, no, because I might not be able to see her in thingy, but she's rolled a bad roll. My perception would be high enough to see it.
Well, actually, we don't know the result yet, right?
You don't
haven't
know
said
the
it.
result yet.
I'll go ahead and use my inspiration and re-roll that.
Okay, you're going to use your inspiration card that I gave you.
Yes,
Okay, play it to the table so we can see what it does.
got it.
Okay, so you're choosing one to immediately re-roll the d20 you just rolled. Go ahead and roll that stealth check again.
All right. There we go.
There we go. Better.
Yay me.
Good. Because the drow's passive perception was 14, so well done on slipping out with another puzzle cube.
Yeah.
Well done. A nice and simple acquisition there. You look at this one briefly, and this one appears to have what looks like the image of a little monkey carved into it.
Thank goodness we did not have to go through his temple. I was really scared about that one. Zola was.
This is
you saying this to
Wongo's
yourself,
puzzle
boy?
cube. Probably thinking this to herself in the bush. Okay. Then the rest of them, unless you guys care to do anything, they don't see you. They're going to just walk on past. And
Cal's
away.
still chasing them because he hasn't seen Zola roll out.
Why would he not? You know she's in there.
Good point.
I will go back to the ruins and kind of hide myself around a corner, and then make some kind of animal call that doesn't sound exactly right, I'm sure, to make Tower aware that the mission was successful.
Look at me.
Okay.
Look at me.
Enough to realise that's
So you want to make some sort of noise that's deceptive enough not to trigger the crew, but to draw
I'm
the
also
attention of Tower.
using the acoustics of the ruins around me to make it sound difficult to pinpoint where exactly it's coming from.
Performance check. Okay.
That's about right. I was like, she
That's
can't
about
really
right. Yeah.
do that well.
There is a moment where the mage in the group stops and listens to the strange animalistic noise that's heard.
Cuckoo, cuckoo.
But then, we've got work to do. Come on, let's go. And the half-dragon pushes her along. Tower, roll an insight check.
Oh, roll. Oh,
It's so bad today.
oh, poor people.
You figure that noise doesn't seem right. Cuckoo, cuckoo. You don't know any animals that say cuckoo, cuckoo. You've heard of some beetles, but not any actual jungle animals. So you get a glimpse. Maybe Zola's not there, and you can't see her. So perhaps she's free.
My ears prick up, and I identify the direction of where the cuckoo came from.
Okay. You guys reunite, and you're able to get back to the party while this group head back to their camp.
Got it.
Well done, Zola.
Thank you. That was kind of fun. They had a machine. It was like a ballista on wheels, and it had a dragon head, and it was like made out of, was it brass or copper?
Oak.
Oak. It was made out of oak, but it was painted gold.
Well,
I think so.
How do the horses drag it?
It was no, it was all within itself. It moved its own wheels. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it.
That sounds awesome. Let's steal it later.
You were able to sneak on board?
Yep.
And find the cube? Very
Yep.
good.
Do you think we should prevent them or somehow talk them out of pursuing other cubes?
Nah, if they want to go get the rest of the cubes out of the temples for us, that'd be fine.
Maybe we should just follow them and take the cubes one by one.
Well, they're headed south, so they're going to be crossing the ones that we've already got.
That's true.
It also serves us. Raz Nisi thinks, or he knows that there is a group here, but he doesn't know it is us. And if he runs into them, he may make the assumption.
Yeah, but they have all sorts of loot, is what Carl says, but not what Averine says.
But not Averine. You remember that discussion we had last week? Yeah, all in their bags. Okay.
Okay.
So,
And Zola hasn't said that anything was in the bags at all, except for she found the cube. It's like, okay, well.
Keep your eye on the prize, guys.
Almost like she knows that like Avery would be so tempted by it.
I'm very curious about this construct. I could use it for my project.
The amount of wood, high quality wood in this construct. Okay. So with that, 4 out of the 5 shrines done. What would you like to do?
Rupert, you wanted to show us the temple?
I'll show you. Follow me. And he will guide you pretty much straight along that track that you're up against right now, following north along the western side of this walkway. As you follow the path, you will come to a break in the side of the cliff. One moment. Just grab the right map and move all your characters to it.
It should be easy to track them with the wagon wheels or the construct wheels. You know, in case we wanted to follow up for whatever reason.
There was also a dragon guy and a dude that looked like he might have been a gladiator, and they had some pretty heavy footfalls. So,
can you see yourselves at the bottom of this here?
Yep.
Okay. The entrance in front of you, near the base of this cliff, you can see has a 15-foot tall obelisk. The obelisk looks completely black. This dark stone that it cracked ever so slightly is draped with vines and black moss. Behind it, there is a passageway directly beyond. It seems to be obscured a little bit by vines, but it is quite clear that there is a door right ahead of you. But then, immediately to the right, you can see a second, smaller tunnel burrowing into the cliffside itself.
Does the tower the obelisk look the same as the kind of little tower and obelisks that have been at each of the shrines?
This one seems a little bit different. All of the other shrines have had stone, like grey or white stone obelisks out the front with carvings of pictures and Omuan writing. This one, black obsidian, but around the base, common has been carved into it.
What does it say?
It says, "Fear the night when the Forsaken One seizes death's mantle, and the seas dry up and the dead rise, and I, Asererak the Eternal, reap the world of the living. Those who dare enter take heed. The enemies oppose, one stands between them. In darkness it hides. Don the mask or be seen. Speak no truth to the doomed child. The keys turn on the inside only." And I actually have a picture for you. You can all see.
That feels important.
There you go. "Fear the night when the Forsaken One seizes death's mantle, and the seas dry up and the dead rise, and I, Asererak the Eternal, reap the world of the living."
Hey, Mapenzi.
Yes,
You remember when we were above Mesro and we were walking into the Lich's domain?
Quite vividly.
Wasn't the statue on one of the sides of that entrance about this Asererak guy?
Was it? I seem to recall that it was...
One was
where
Zastam.
are my notes? One was Zastam, and the other was a big old lich we didn't recognize. I seem... let me look at my notes.
I think we recognized it.
Mesro, Temple Floating Buzz, Azteum. I don't have a note on that.
It's possible.
Does Grigori remember?
Roll a history check. See how good your memory is.
Because Matthew's natural history check is a -2.
Sounds about right.
What do we know about Aserak the Eternal?
It's a nightmare folk tale told in every nation of a wizard who kept getting worse and worse. Dark power growing, eventually becoming a lich and becoming far more than what other liches are. You hear tale of wizards becoming liches, but what this Aserak apparently did was reach nigh on godhood with his level of power. He is the lich.
Yes, Mapenzi, that seems right. But this leads to the question then. The wizards above Mesro are apparently dedicated to Zaztam and Aserak. So would they be opposed to us or support us in entering this tomb, if it is Aserak's tomb?
What was it again that the Lich was trying to make you do, besides that one thing that we're not going to talk about?
He wanted to find and, I believe, dismantle or destroy the Soulmonger.
Yeah, so I'd say they're for it.
Ufert.
Yes.
So the door ahead is the tomb, right?
Yes. Look.
This.
And he'll step forward and point to the door. You'll see that in the door there are 9 square grooves embedded into it in a 3x3 format.
Is this obelisk new?
No. As best I know, it's been here since the tomb's inception.
Are you capable of reading common?
Yes.
Tell me, Ufbert, what is your conclusion based on this warning from Aserak, in front of the tomb? If this obelisk has been here since the tomb was built, who do you think built it?
You know, I think I've got this crazy thought, but I think Aserak created the Tomb of the 9 Gods. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I support your conclusion. I've reached the same idea, yes. So do you think he killed the 9 gods and locked them in this tomb? Or buried them in this tomb? Or imprisoned them?
Well, I hope not. But probably.
But to what end? What does he gain out of doing that?
It's a good question.
Do you know any liches?
Did Averine just admit I had a good question? You are all witnesses to this event.
A broken clock is right twice a day, too. Why would Aserak entomb gods?
I don't know. I have no idea what would go through the minds of a lich.
Ooh. The Thayans said something about the machine being something that feeds. Maybe it's feeding him. Maybe that's the whole purpose of everything.
Liches do feed on the souls of other, and the warning says that Aserak will reap the world of the living.
So maybe he's just gobbling all the souls.
Maybe it simply powers his phylactery.
It's a mighty phylactery.
Every soul of everyone that's died on the planet
How long has this tomb? This tomb here has been here for years, and the curse is more recent.
True.
Yeah, magic's not my strong suit.
No, but understanding needs and desires of others you're quite good at. So what if this tomb has been here for years, why would the curse be powering a Sararak now?
Well, they said that the Lich over Mesro said that they're creating a new god. Or was that...
I don't completely remember. What I took away from it is that something is the machine's feeding something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and as Sararak was nigh unto godhood, perhaps this is a final machination to make the final step to actual ascendance.
You think it took that long to get everything together? Maybe.
I suppose godhood is not a simple process to obtain.
There haven't been many who have done it.
All right, well, that door is where the cubes go, right?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it's got the holes. They seem the right size.
Wait, the obelisk says that the thing is on the inside.
Key is on the
The
inside?
obelisk says, the enemies oppose. One stands between them. In darkness it hides. Don the mask or be seen. Speak no truth to the doomed child. The keys turn on the inside only.
That's it. The keys turn on the inside only. So maybe it's not straightforward like that. I don't know. I've been wrong before. But maybe like that little secret tunnel, the smaller tunnel, leads somewhere where the keys actually go.
Well, what do you see down this side tunnel?
Let me go check it out. Oh, hi, Tower.
Tower, you don't have dark vision, so you seem to struggle right there. Right? But Zola, as you look down this this little alleyway here, you can see that there are 8 alcoves that run the length of this narrow tunnel. Each one features a bestial statue standing or squatting over a basin of oil. In front of you, right next to you right here, you have 2 creatures. One that looks like a Jakuli, the other like a Sioux monster. You look past, you see an Almirage and a Zorbo, then an Eblis and a Froggermoth, and then the last one being a Grung and a Kamadan.
Onk's missing. Do I see any traps?
Roll a perception check. No, you don't necessarily see any traps. Nothing really stands out to you as trapped. It definitely stands out to you that Unk isn't there. That seems wrong.
I am going to warily take a step forward and brace myself.
Okay. Nothing happens. Everything seems fine. All you have is just simply these statues that represent the animals of the trickster gods, stood or crouched over a bowl filled with oil.
Okay, so now I'm going, knowing that this, well, I'm going to step lightly the whole way, but my intent is to get all the way down to the end and look up around, see if I can find Unk.
Roll another perception check. You don't see Unk. The alcove that you're in is very closed in. It only reaches about 15 foot tall, with each of those little alcoves around you.
Okay, I'll go back.
Where is he? Shinies? Shinies?
No shinies.
Send in Pijo to investigate. Have him pull all the levers.
There are eight.
I'll give that.
There are 8 of the 9 god statues. Unk's missing. I can't find him anywhere. Her.
Doesn't Unk live deep below the earth?
Sometimes. Yeah, it's a her. And then all the statues are set above bowls, basins of oil.
Maybe I should have a look. And I'm going to produce flame and just hold flame in the palm of my hand to produce flame.
Okay. So, as you use fire to help you see,
Yeah, I know.
you begin to walk through the gap, now with your limited light helping you to be able to see. With the flame, you step through, and oil in the basins means fumes in the air, and your flame catches some. And almost as a reaction of you coming close to them, the basins next to you begin to light. And now the statues of these trickster gods are wreathed in flame. Nothing negative happened to you, like it didn't explode to hit you. It's just you approaching with an open flame caused the basins to light.
Are they lighting in order as I walk?
As you step closer to them, each time you get within 5 feet of the next row, that row ignites.
Okay, I'm going to continue to walk forward. I'm going to be trying to look on the floor. After somebody said there was a ground thing, I'm going to look to see if there's some sort of tapestry or anything that might be on the floor that represents hunger.
Okay. Perception check.
Perception.
You don't see anything special or new. Do you keep walking?
Keep walking.
Okay. You ignite the next ones. The area illuminated. You can feel the heat coming off of all of these flames. Keep going for the last 2.
Yeah.
Okay. As the last 2 ignite, all of the flames in all of the basins suddenly shift from being the red hue of fire to a green glow. The wall right in front of you disintegrates instantly. You see a statue of Unk, the missing trickster god, within his position, wreathed in that brilliant green flame. Around his neck, around the flail snail's neck, shining brightly and almost humming as you approach it, is a golden necklace with a little pendant symbol that looks like Unk.
I have something.
Like what?
I have found Unk, and it is carrying something, an item.
Look back at Everine. He's got an item.
Oh, did you want me to investigate it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's safe. If you want to just...
Perhaps you wish to use your mage hand.
What is it?
I'll use my mage hand to take it off, but I have to touch it in order to identify it, if I assume it's magical.
It seems to hum. Just the very air around it seems to vibrate with energy. It is a simple golden chain, gold pendant with the symbol of Unk on it. Do you identify it?
All right, so I walked up to Bio Tower to grab this with my mage hand, All right.
and it comes off easily enough.
All right. I'm gonna walk back out and be out here in the open, and then place it on the ground.
Before you even place it on the ground, standing where you are, the amulet seems to pull ever so slightly, like magnetically shifting to the west, just a little bit.
Clearly, that's noteworthy, but Carl has no idea why. Would Averine notice something to the west that would suggest why it's being pulled that way?
Roll an intelligence check.
18.
Okay. It's really weird, but it seems like it's almost like someone is trying to show you something, the way it's tugging you in a particular direction. But the way it's tugging you, the way it's pulling, is towards the cliffside, away from the door. It seems to be pulling you in this direction.
What have you found, Avril?
Well, I haven't identified the magical properties of the necklace yet, but it seems to be compelling me, or not. It seems to be attracted to a location over here in these bushes. And I will, with my mage hand, I'll let it lead. So give it a little leash.
As you begin to make your way closer to this wall here, with the mage hand being pulled, the closer you get to the wall, the tighter the pull of this necklace gets, as it's really trying to pull your mage hand towards this section of the wall. And then the necklace with the mage hand attached passes through the cliffside. You, Averine, controlling the mage hand, get a glimpse that there's a false illusion blocking the path in front of you. I will just make sure. Yeah. Beyond the fake wall, the fake cleft in the rocks here, you see about 20 foot in another door. This one, similar to the one that you had seen previously, the front door to the tomb, but much larger. It seems to be made of a dark stained stone with white cracks, almost like veins throughout it. Once again, it has the 9 cube indentations that indicate place for the 9 cubes to go. But there is this hidden door.
So I'll cast light on my shield, the cantrip light, and then again letting the necklace lead me, I'll walk up towards the door.
Okay, just making a quick change. So yeah, as you approach, you can now see it much clearer. You have in front of you a door. Now I have a door for you. Well, not so much a door, but more a representation of the entryway here.
Ooh. Oh, hello.
With its 9 indentations, ignore the bottom half because you don't have all 9 of the cubes yet. You see the holes embedded into the wall. They sink in about 3 inches or so, which is about half the size of the cubes that you guys have got. They're about 6-inch cubes. So that's what you see.
All right, that other door is apparently a false door, presumably that this is the real door, And this is where the puzzle cubes go.
We should definitely keep that necklace so no one else can use it. That way, even if they take the cubes from us, we'll have some kind of leverage on them.
Indeed. Perhaps we should leave the cubes here.
Oh, no.
Nobody else knows of this door.
Not yet.
And if we have the only key,
Why leave the key outside the door? So if someone finds the door, the key is right there for them to get in.
if we are captured and we are found with the keys, we are killed. With the cubes. But we still have bargaining power if we know of the secret door. And
I believe if we get
we have the location for
caught with the cubes, we still have bargaining power for the location of the door.
perhaps.
I
But-
think, or I don't know, if maybe.
Additionally, what if one of our number is captured or killed? Avery is the one with all our cubes so far.
I just
and
have
if
to
we
look.
No, I believe the cubes are in. 2 of the cubes are in Grigori's bag. Zola has one and Everine has one.
All right, sorry, that's Ty's mistake.
Sure.
Then, my only suggestion is it may be better not to have them on us,
Would
or at
Avery,
least some of them not on us.
would Avery know the strength of this illusion? Like, is it a common illusory wall that if someone were to cast detect magic, they would obviously see that there's a false wall here?
Yeah, it's better than your average illusion. So whoever enchanted it must be a very powerful illusion, a very powerful mage. You could assume so with a lich, but it is clearly an illusion. Detect magic would trigger the location of the illusion.
There's certainly sense in concealing the cubes somewhere, but the magic used to conceal this wall would signal anyone who happened to look in this direction that there's something behind it. So this would not be an ideal place to hide the cubes. Perhaps when I finish my project, we can put the cubes in that box, if we so desire, or we could put them elsewhere. But there's certainly merit and worth consideration.
What happens to the box that you're making if you die?
Let's not consider that potentiality.
Not that I want to. Just trying to create a backup plan for the backup plan for the backup plan, you know.
Well, I haven't figured out the entirety of the spell yet. Once I've figured out the spell, I'll tell you all about it.
Okie dokie.
So, what are we doing?
I guess I'll identify this necklace.
Okay. It is a necklace with divination magic on it. Its purpose, its benefit, is just simply to help locate the true entrance to the Tomb of the Nine Gods. That's all there is to it.
So if I were to walk away from the door backwards with the necklace, like, stick out?
To a point. Once you reach past a certain distance, it's almost the opposite effect. The closer you get to the door, the stronger the pull that the amulet has. So the further away from it gets, the less it sticks out, the more it just drops down around your neck. And then if you were walking around anywhere more than about 30, 40 feet away from this cliffside, it would just look like a normal necklace.
I'll hand it out to Grigori. Say, Grigori, this item can be used to find this door. Perhaps keeping it in your extra dimensional bag will conceal its true powers to anyone who were to get a hand on our positions.
You're muted, Grigori.
Oh, that seems wise. Is there any reason to keep it beyond just preventing others from having it?
I could imagine a possibility where the door moved the next time we return.
Take it, plop it in the bag.
Okay. It's gone. All right.
Well, we only have a certain number of cubes, and there are more yet to acquire. Perhaps we should carry on.
We need more. And we need to deal with the fact that Razin C has one of them. Have you any thoughts about how to deal with that one?
Well, you told us before that, remember the night that we found you? You said something about how he's some kind of... He's in some kind of bind that he doesn't want to be, and he's been sending people to attempt to take care of it for him.
Mm-hmm.
So there's our in right there.
Okay.
Right? I mean, you're okay. Sounds half-hearted.
Yeah.
What do you think?
We could just send Zola in to steal it. She is very efficient at this. And you are UNT. You will not be suspected.
I don't like the idea of working with Razin C unless I have to. He paid quite heavily last time, and after working with you, being in front of him again, you might get the wrong impression.
Or you did a good thing by bringing us into the fold, because we're actually going to solve this problem. I got to be honest with you, I don't like working with him as much as you don't. But if we, during this journey, I've kind of figured something out, and that is if we pass up opportunities when we find them, regardless of how maniacal and freaky and evil they are, we would not have gotten as far as we have. This is very much, I've been following the doctrine of Ubtao, and it has not led me astray so far. So if we work with him now, we have more advantages of fixing the problem that everybody has. And then when that problem is handled, then we can start to operate the way that we really want to.
Okay.
Well, Ufber, your interest is mainly in the shrines, is it not?
Yes. I am interested in the shrines. I'd love to see them all, but I can understand if we don't need to.
Well, so if we collect all the cubes from all the shrines except for the one that Razanisi has, you'd really have no other purpose, and there'd be no reason for you to accompany us to see Razanisi if you don't want to, unless you wanted to come with us into the tomb. Why do you laugh like that? Surely there's all sorts of historical and archaeological interesting things in there.
Roll a really high persuasion check.
Well, I'm not trying to persuade him to come.
No, I know. Yes. I'm not the adventurous type. You'll notice with the fact that I don't get involved in anything you guys actually do. I fear if I were to actually follow you into the tomb, I wouldn't come out. So instead, I'll sit outside, wait for you to return, and bargain some of the prizes that you find in there off of you. That sounds like a deal, right?
So you're just gonna wait outside the door when we go in?
Probably.
All right. Well, again, I don't think you need to come with us to see Razanisi if it would make you uncomfortable.
Okay. I'll think about it. I mean,
Regardless,
I'm guiding you, so to speak.
Regardless, I do believe we can continue on. Rosnisi is in that, on your map, that circular complex, correct?
Mm-hmm.
There's at least one more shrine between here and there. We can travel that direction while we decide what to do. Standing still and trying to decide what we ought to do does not make me feel comfortable.
And you say the puzzle cube that he has is the shrine to Ankh, is that right? Or the one with Ankh on it?
I think, let me see, check the map. Okay. Just double checking.
Yeah. Raz has Unks puzzle cube.
Yeah.
That's the note I got.
So if we roll up to a shrine and it has a picture of Ankh on it, we know not to bother with it.
Same with Mongo, which was that one,
Yeah.
presumably.
Who has Mongo?
I do.
Oh, that's right. We caught that.
Just
from...
stole it.
That's
Yep.
right.
I was a cheeky monkey. Ha ha ha.
Liberated it.
Grigori
Which
tweaks her nose. You're always a
It's
cheeky
probably
monkey.
what Wongo would have liked to have seen.
That's not good.
All right, then shall we head to this one that appears to be in the flooded zone?
Cool.
I have a problem with water.
It's all right. Look, it looks like it's just you can accompany us to the water part.
Okay.
If only we had a magical folding boat to assist us in crossing this waterway.
That sounds like a brilliant idea.
Shago needed it more. No, none of that.
Touchy subject, okay. So, you guys start making your way, once again, like you did before, quietly moving through the area, trying to keep yourselves hidden, whilst also keeping an eye out on everything. And as you begin making your way through, perception checks from everyone, please.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Pijo.
Okay.
Carmen and Grigori are apparently talking to each other.
Oh, no.
This time, as you're making your way through, there isn't a group of Yuan-Ti, not a group of Thayan wizards, not even a group of adventurers that are moving through. As a whole new group, how many groups of people are there going to be around here? What you catch a glimpse of is a kobold crew yappering away around a campfire right in your way, right in the path that you would be taking. What are you guys going to do about it?
What are they, sorry?
Kobolds. Tiny little draconic-like creatures.
Whereabouts are we encountering them?
So, they are around a campsite, small little crew that they are. They're sat around talking, eating, feasting on some flesh, but just between, pretty much directly in your path towards the location you were headed to.
If they were distracted, could we walk around them quite easily?
It's definitely possible.
Okay.
Stealth checks if you'd like to try and walk around them without them noticing. And in actual fact, you guys would actually be on the other side of them.
Can I see what they're eating?
Roll a perception check.
Do we wish to deal with these, or do we wish to go stealthily? I can cast my spell again if you wish to.
Well, so before we get closer, I want to cast tongues so I can understand what they say and speak their language or whatever. And if we can hear what they're saying, then we could decide whether or not we want to deal with them. Perhaps they also have a cube. Maybe I can listen and hear for what they're talking about.
Yeah, if we wish to stay for a long period, then perhaps I will cast it anyway.
Then, what's your stealth check specifically, Averine, as you're trying to listen in closely?
11, 21 with the pass without trace.
Okay. All right. So everyone quietly enough manages to approach. As you listen in, Averine, using tongues, they are speaking Draconic. They're complaining about the state of the shrines.
They're English.
From what they're discussing, it seems like these... they're almost talking like custodians over the shrines. And they're made to maintain. But they're talking about how it's going to be difficult to restore the shrine to Obolaka with the cube missing. Is it Obolaki that you have? Let me double check which ones you've got. In the party. No, sorry, Shigambi. So they can't maintain Shigambi's cube with the cube missing. They can't keep the traps up to date if there's nothing to protect anymore.
Yeah, the tricksters.
So these little folks seem to be working to maintain the shrines in the state that they were in.
All right, so if I had to get closer, I would back up and share with the group that these kobolds, they're the cleaning crew for the shrines. Maybe they know how all the traps work. Perhaps we can get them to tell us how the traps work.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that, you got to be real smooth to pull that off, because if their jobs are maintaining the shrines, then why would us going up in there and causing a ruckus be what they want? Are you talking about doing it with the angle that we'll keep everything as close to the way as it is?
Yeah, we'll do as little damage as possible, and the sooner that we're done with the cubes, the sooner they can be returned. So obviously, helping us is in their interests if they want the cubes returned. As an idea, we can easily just walk by them if we want.
One of them could be handy.
In what way, Carmen?
Well, if they are the ones who maintain all of the shrines, then they're going to know how to get around them. And they're going to know what sets off all the traps. If we want to get through all the rest of them in one piece, it might be handy to have somebody on the inside who can tell us where not to step.
Unless they choose to lie to us and tell us not to step somewhere and get us into all of the traps.
True, but that might not be in their favour.
What if we step with that person?
Yeah.
Only one way to find out, I suppose.
It's just an idea.
The language they speak is Draconic. Do any of you also speak the tongue?
That doesn't help.
All right. Well, it never hurts. It never goes wrong when I'm the face.
Good luck.
Oh.
Gotta go get
You're-
ready to pass that.
Do you really intend to speak to them, or shall we sneak around? Because once our presence is known, they will know we are here. To this point, other than the Yuan tea, we've kept our presence quite at a minimum.
Ufbert, you're the expert in the shrines. What do you know about these kobolds?
I didn't know they existed. I would be fascinated to be able to pick one's brain. Sadly, I don't quite speak Draconic. I wasn't expecting dragons.
Well, I am not one to put us in unnecessary risk. If we don't think that talking to them will aid us, then I'm happy to let us walk by.
I'm sure it would help, but we've been tackling these temples on our own just fine.
Do they have any very expensive furniture?
Are they lumberjacks who are carrying very expensive wood around with them to repair the traps?
Master carpenters, perhaps.
Averine, roll a persuasion check.
A persuasion check against the DM to see if there's wood.
With advantage.
They are obviously eating some sort of meat that is cooked on a fire. And not far from them, within their little hovel, there does appear to be a pile of wood that would be used for the fire. So they do seem to have something that might be useful to you. Quite a big pile, actually. It's piled up against the side of one of these buildings.
Oh. So many things that Carl wants to do that Averine wouldn't do. It's unnerving.
We leave a pile of magical gear in a van, and we're gonna fight a bunch of kobolds for some wood.
Hey, thank you, Black Steve 420, for the follow.
Perhaps we should hit the next temple, and then once we have finished, make a ruckus. Maybe these kobolds will attend to it, and perhaps they will leave their camp minimally guarded, and we can come back, pick off the straggler or the guard, and get up the information we wish, and you get your wood.
I do like my wood. Sure. Yes. Yes. This makes all the sense. We keep our presence unknown, and we're able to get to the next shrine, and perhaps we can retrieve some more material for my special project.
So we're gonna
Okay.
move on.
So, moving past them, you guys roll well enough with your stealth that you can ignore yet another encounter. As you do so, and make your way through to the next shrine, obviously you have the water that you've got to deal with. So I'll jump you back to the map of Omo. You guys are approaching.
Can we come in closer to the
Of course you can.
seeing a waterfall up close? Very pretty. Someone said to me, "There's always something behind the waterfall." Perhaps we should look.
There's some truth to that.
That's what I've read.
Okay. Detour
Well-
to the waterfall.
Well, not quite a detour. We can use it to scout out the north end of the shrine. That would even be wise and prudent to go to the waterfall, don't you think?
Whatever you say.
So can we make our way to the waterfall?
Okay. So, being guided around, you'll make your way to the waterfall. The air is sparkling with the humidity as the water is turned to mist in this particular area. Every sound that you have become accustomed to is suddenly decimated behind the sound of the rushing water right here. It is a heavy swirl And it really makes it difficult to be able to even hear yourselves think as you begin to approach. All of your clothes start to feel a little damper as the water's spraying at you. Perception checks all around.
Oh man, Grigori is just still so ticked off about before. He can't focus on anything.
All right.
Come on, Pedro. No.
No.
Pijo and Zola, you guys noticed that behind the waterfall, there is definitely a open, rocky outcrop, like a cliff, not a cliff, a cave behind the waterfall, and a slight thin path that just hugs the cliffside that could pass you underneath without having to go through the waterfall itself.
Hey, Tower.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Tower!
Yes.
There might actually be something to the thing you said. Look.
Oh, I see. The path.
Yeah.
This may make a good campsite for after when we finish in the tomb.
Do we want to go check it out?
Yes, very much.
What?
Very much.
No, I'm good.
Okay, so leading off towards that location, who's going in first?
I will.
What do you ask like that?
Yeah, I'll do it. I'm the one with the innate dark vision and the
Okay.
perception.
So, slipping along the side, hugging the cleft of the rock, you slide in to the cave. The cave itself behind this cliff face isn't that big. It's only about 30-foot diameter circle in here. The ceiling is about 50 foot high, and it creates a dome structure as you enter in. The air feels fairly thick and stale, almost like it's been trapped in this location for just a little bit too long. But as you look around, everything seems clear. There doesn't appear to be any sort of creatures in this space. However, when you turn back to look at the waterfall from the other side, strangely enough, you get a completely different view of the city of Omo. You look through the waterfall, and it doesn't look like you're looking through a layer of water. It almost looks like you're looking through a window with just a few drops of water here and there. But looking at the city beyond, it is a different city. Gone are the ruins. Gone are the flooded sections, the vines, the drapery. The city of Omo, as it once was, back in its heyday, is presented in front of you. It's a magnificent city, whitewashed buildings. The sunlight seems to sparkle off of the glass domes. Everything looks really, really quite beautiful. But then black smoke begins to coil from fires across the city. Houses begin to catch fire. A dark shape crests over the entrance to Omo, and every building slowly rots before your eyes as a sphere of utter darkness, a sphere of annihilation, the likes of which you've never witnessed before, seems to just roll over the city of Omo, destroying everything in its path. And then it's gone. And you view the city in its current state once again.
My gods. I gotta show everybody this. Back in the greater part of the cavern, I'm going to get back to a hiding position, and then I'm going to chuck a rock down the path just to make sure that nothing swarms it out of the darkness.
Everything seems fine.
Okay.
You've
all
got
right,
a nice little hidey hole right here.
I'll run back down. Hey guys, this is some like magic mirror waterfall.
What?
I think she's in trouble.
I think she just wants some company. Let's go and have a look.
Tara's gonna light his palm blame thing.
And it goes out instantly. The water's just too misty.
It's magical. I don't know.
Then it's
Mundane
it
water
sputters
doesn't hurt my
constantly.
flame off.
It sputters. Right?
Walk on in to beckoning Zola.
You
Can I
each watch the same vision pass through your eyes upon the first time you view the other side of the waterfall. You watch the destruction of the city of Omo as it happened.
Oh.
Grigori,
Yes.
with your background, you would know and understand that spheres of annihilation are common tools of lichdom. Particularly powerful liches, particularly what you may have heard about Serak and his working situation, not the horror stories that people would have heard, is that he favors the sphere of annihilation. And what you just witnessed is a large one destroying the city of Omo. Okay. And with that, as we see the destruction of the city, we're going to go ahead and take a 15-minute break. So, on your screens, in just a moment, you're going to see today's Who's That Monster? So, type away in chat. Let us know what you think the monster is. It's always got something to do with the last session that's run. So, join us in 15 minutes once we've had a quick break. See you then. Welcome back, everyone, after the short break. So, today's Who's That Monster was up on your screen. It was the Almirage. All right, so let's give Nightbot a moment to decide who was right. Roll to confirm. Well done for guessing it correctly. Yeah, the Almirage was one of the creatures that the party had engaged with previously. Last week, it was one of the shrines to the Nine Gods was dedicated to Ijin, the Almirage. It was Ijin, wasn't it? Yes, it was. All right. So we rejoin our adventure and jump right in to where we left at the waterfall. So you found this nice little alcove that you can relax in. The water is actually very cool as it flows past the opening. Quite refreshing compared to the heat in the hot summer's day. What are you guys going to do? What are you up to?
I could do with a short rest. I've already used one of my animal shapes today. I could potentially use another to get us to form a squid or something. We could travel to the next destination, but I do not want to go there without having another shape to back it up.
Well, can we explore the cave behind the waterfall here in this area?
You can, and just as Zola was able to determine, it's a 30-foot wide circle. That's pretty much all there is. Yeah.
Hi. Do you want a short answer?
This is a good place to have camp after. Well,
When we passed by like this area, could we see how far that gap was between the building and the shore?
Let me just double check which spot you were referring to. Okay. So the distance between there and there, it was a tight one, but there is a 30-foot distance between that corner and this one. Is that what you're considering? As you look at the shrine, and I'll move the big marker out of the way so it doesn't block your view. Just like in other areas, you see a walled structure that is covered in ruins, and then inside is another building that is the shrine itself. So you've got about a 30-foot walk, and then, 30-foot swim, and then the corner of the walled structure, and then still a little bit of a distance to get into the shrine itself.
Oh, I could just fly to that location and with a rope, and we can be across if you want to do that. If you don't want to get wet, I don't like getting my feathers wet.
Oh, that sounds like a great idea, Picho. But let's wait for Tower to catch his breath before we carry on.
Hey, Everine, while we're just chilling out, do you have any idea why that waterfall showed us the scene that it did? Like, did somebody put that on it? Does it look like some kind of magical natural occurrence? Or, why? Why did it do that?
Well, Zola. Do I know why it does?
An Arcana check as you investigate this thing.
15.
Okay. There is definitely an enchantment on the waterfall. That's quite clear. Someone must have enchanted it to do this very specific thing, to show you the destruction of Omu upon the first time of you viewing this point.
Well, Zola, it's magic.
Okay. Did someone do it, or was it naturally occurring? Is it something about this place?
It seems to be an enchantment on the waterfall.
Which implies that someone put it there.
Mm-hmm.
One could arrive at that conclusion.
Maybe a survivor.
One could also arrive to the conclusion that to enchant the waterfall would require so much more than simply enchanting the water that falls over the waterfall. There is so much more than your average magic. Mortal magic could not do what has been done.
Very fancy magic.
There we go.
When you examine these things, does magic have a signature to it, kind of like smells? If you saw something, different effects multiple times cast out by like the same person, could you start to pick up on who might do it?
Arcana check. I don't know. In terms,
Are you talking like a bomb squad guy who defuses multiple bombs and can tell who's making it because they have like the same
Exactly.
components in it?
Exactly. There's like a calling card in there.
Signature.
the way in which people perform magic is generally within their own sphere to interpret. The same spell cast by a wizard might be performed very differently by one that uses material components, or one that uses an arcane focus, one that has his magic innately because he's a sorcerer, or one that is gifted it by a patron. Because of all the different routes that a person could perform the spell, the actual method of casting the spell does show signatures. But the magic, once it's in place, often doesn't. So, an invisibility spell cast on an individual is always going to look like an invisibility spell. But the site in which the invisibility spell was cast might hold remnants of evidence of the signature.
Do I recognize if this waterfall enchantment is similar to the mountain fake wall invisibility illusion? Or visibility illusion?
No. In fact, they seem almost opposite in nature. One seems the waterfall almost feels like it was pure. It's there to help, while the other one was almost there to hinder specifically. There was a very different feeling and purpose behind the magics here.
Zola, it takes a very fine eye to pinpoint these differences. And I don't have great experience trying to determine the differences between different casters of long-lasting effects. But I do get the impression that this spell is owned separately, or has a separate owner than the one by the mountain, if that is where you are going with this line of questioning.
Yeah, it's just, I know that it's a message of some kind. I know it's a communication to us. But is it a Sararak communicating that he's an all-powerful force that cannot be stopped, you shouldn't even try? Or is it something else, you know? Is it...
The message seems to be a warning of the devastation and the history of what the beauty of this place was, not the cause and destruction. It's the warning of the Lich, not the Lich creating warning. That is my sense.
Do you think it's Liuto? Do you think this is something he left behind?
What do you feel? You are his closest acolyte in this group.
I don't know. I straight up don't know. That's why I'm asking.
I felt something looking at this. What did you feel?
Remorse. Ruin. Sadness. Travesty. Stuff like that. But that could have, depending on who the sender is, that could mean different things.
I often feel that Haiti talks to me in strange ways sometimes. Uktao is the closest thing you have to God, no? Do you feel that he could be talking to you now? Is my question.
Well, I want to believe that he is, but because I am aware that I have that desire, I am super careful not to fall into something, you know, about just fulfilling wishes and stuff. It needs to be real.
What does it matter? If it is real to you, it is real. If this...
Because if it's not from Uktao, and if it has some kind of... Well, no, because if it had some kind of dark meaning beneath the surface, you could change it, and if you spread it, then you could steal the meaning away. I see what you're saying.
It is whatever you see. So...
Thank you, Tower.
It's okay.
While they're having that conversation, Carmen, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. I've just been keeping myself back from you guys having your debates. How are you?
I'm fine. Have you heard anything from your father of late?
Not since I spoke to him at the start when we entered Omu. He seemed
well. That was only a couple days ago.
Yeah, he seemed okay. There wasn't any reason for me to worry as such. It appears that him and my mother and my uncles have gone on another adventure somewhere. So I don't know. I imagine they're okay. So I'm not worrying as much now. It sounds as though he's sorted himself out. But thank you for asking.
Well, I know we have at sometimes imprudently been in a bit of a hurry. Rushing things would be a bad idea, I think, at this point. So knowing that we have time and that you're not feeling pressured to rush things is reassuring.
Thanks. However, I don't believe in the past you would have been too worried if I felt rushed.
Oh, I would be very worried if you were rushed and wound up doing something foolish that got us hurt.
I've done those already. Come on, let's be fair. I've already tried to make it hard to fly.
Which is all the more reason I'm glad we have established we don't need to rush and make similar mistakes from this point going forward. Let's be honest. I don't care much about your father. I care about avoiding yesterday trying to follow the advice of the shrines. I acted somewhat recklessly and
you did
to very negative effects. And I know you have, for similar good intention, as it were, acted recklessly.
Yes.
So I'm just glad to know that we've no reason to act recklessly from here on in.
All right. I will take that as a non-verbal apology.
You may take it however you wish, my dear.
Okay. No worry. We're good.
He's just going to look at Ace Bag of Shines.
PG looks happy over there, doesn't he? Maybe we need to keep an eye on him with the sparkly stuff, though. He seems to be getting a bit attached.
Yes, but when you find something you really love, who are we to deprive him of that, really?
Well,
He finds another little shiny. There's a shell sparkling right at the edge of the waterfall. Picks up another shiny.
Oh.
Simple pleasures.
He looks so happy, though, doesn't he? Leave him be.
Okay, so
did we take a short rest?
you've taken a short rest. So if you feel the need to expend any hit dice, you can do. You can
I
recover.
don't think you're in any battles or anything, were we?
Did we have any encounters?
We're fine. We're okay. We left sanity.
They're technically all encounters.
We've technically had 2 encounters that we've gotten through.
So
Don't.
I'm not trying to tell the DM. I am being so respectful to the DM. I was more considering calm and going, do I need to do a song of rest? No, I don't. That's all it was.
So, yeah, go ahead.
How do you... I'm yelling. How do you think we should approach this sunken wall area?
I liked the flying a rope up and just shimmying our way over. I don't think it is wise for us to... Or the alternative, chop down a tree, hang on to it so we're under the water, and let it float down that way so our appearance is not noted.
I can
What?
direct from underneath the water if you wish to do it that way.
The water itself doesn't concern me. It's what's in the water that concerns me.
That's true. Good point. So how many of us can fly? So PG can fly. How many of us can cast fly if we needed to stay out of the water? Don't know I can.
I did not prepare fly today.
Okay.
I tend to burn things to the ground.
We know.
Fly is not in my forte.
I burn things. Yeah.
I have the feather from the old one still, if I need it.
If Bijou did the rope thing, I think most of us could get across that way just fine, right?
Could I support him with that?
You can do. The point, I guess, the important thing to note is where the rope is going. Okay? You've experienced 3 shrines already, and each of these shrines thus far have only had one way of getting in.
Yeah.
And they've forced you to go in through that front entrance. You can make an educated guess that this next shrine also has a similar point, a single point of entry that you must step into. So how are you going to position your rope? What are you going to do to try and make sure that you guys can get to that entrance in the easiest way possible?
Could we, if we've got a rope that PG holds one end, I hold the other, everyone can hold on to it, we get everybody onto the roof, and then we all had a grappling hook with a rope attached.
Yeah, I've got grappling hooks.
So I've still got mine. I've definitely not used it. So could we do it as in we would hook it over the top of the roof so that you could then abseil down to the doorway?
So you should be able to see the outer border of this. Yes, that seems like it would work if you can get onto the top. The height difference between the platform and the shrine is only about a 20-foot high climb. So you should be able to do it, especially if you guys did choose to take the path up from this top left corner. If you took the rope to the top left corner, is the shortest distance to the ground without touching the water. However, that walled structure is very thin. It's going to be hard for you guys to stay on there, particularly as a group, long enough to be able to then catch up onto the roof itself.
Can Pijo just fly and do some scouting to tell us a little bit more? Like, for example, inside the wall, is the water very deep, or once you're inside the wall, is it flooded but just knee deep?
Okay.
Stuff like that.
Perception check from Pijo.
Pijo!
Pijo! Oh.
Nice. All right. So the water isn't actually too deep. It's about 4 foot deep. Okay.
Within
so those
everywhere
around. At this point, you're towards the edge of the water, so it's not that deep right here. So it's only about 4 foot. As you get closer to the entrance, however, Pijo does notice 4 crocodiles swimming near the entrance of the shrine.
Oh, I don't like
So while
big mouse.
yeah, so while the water isn't that deep, and I think most of you could move through the water without it would slow you down because of how high it would get, but it wouldn't drown you simply walking through it. But the crocodiles are going to pose the biggest concern.
I'm going to be flying back now.
Tower, can you befriend those beasts?
I have not prepared that kind of spell today. For such aggressive predators, I would need that to do it, I imagine.
Perhaps we'll have to kill them, and then we'll use their leather for some sort of craft. Indeterminate in the future.
Would you like to make a box out of alligator skin, Everine?
Maybe we could line it.
Just
They
in
make
case.
fine boots if you do not use a metal box.
Just in case we do get into trouble out there, do the walls of the shrine look climbable?
The shrine itself, yes, but they're difficult.
Okay.
Okay.
Is the roof flat or is the roof pointed? So could you land on the roof?
It is like layers of points. So a central point that layers down, then a slight platform, and then another shelf that drops down, and then sheer drop to the water.
Okay.
Okay.
I could fry the beasts with lightning from here. They are in water. Lightning would not do very good to them. But it would make a lot of noise.
I don't think noise would be a problem with the waterfall behind us anyway.
Well,
It will drown out most of the noise. Excuse the pun.
yeah.
Nice.
Right. Well, we have, if we break the problem into separate parts, we have to get from the shore to the building, and then from the building, from on top of the building, into the building.
I have rope.
Abseil.
I think all of us have rope. We could hook to the wall and also hook to the top of the building. Pijo could could put these on for us, and we could tie them off. And then we could, once on the roof, we could make our attack on the crocodiles and abseil it down.
Seems like a fine plan to me.
Okay. All right. So then, positioning yourself on the ground nearest that point. Who's throwing? Well, I guess Pijo is flying the grappling hook over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
tying it in, and then I guess we would just tie something down to a tree or something on the shore, right?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
we could tie off the grappling hooks at either end. We've got one for each person, so we could hook, and then do the same between the wall and the roof. Hook.
Yep.
And we still got enough to hook down and abseil down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Then who's going to cross the rope first? Pijo is flying over. No problem there.
I'm flying over.
You're going to cast fly on yourself?
Yeah, I
Playing
use my...
some... Okay.
So I've got an hour now.
I'll go first. Make sure it's tight and all that stuff.
Isn't
If
your-
not, I'll scamper away.
Is your fly for an hour or is it 10 minutes?
I think it's for an hour. Hold on.
Your card says concentration up to 10 minutes.
It's not. Hold on.
Unless it's different. Unless it's different from your.
What's on there. That's just a spell that I put onto my thingy.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Solar. Roll either athletics or acrobatics, depending on how you plan to cross this rope.
I'm gonna do it with style.
And you do it with style. You practically tightrope up using whatever you have, arms out, stretched, and then just slowly make your way up to the first level. Are you then going to do a similar thing to get up to the roof?
So right now I'm on the wall.
You're on the wall. Yep.
Okay. The back part of the wall, though. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Can PG help? It doesn't.
He's
necessarily-
weak. He can barely fly himself up. He's
So
not
he-
helping
he-
anybody
kind of
out.
like that person that's spotting them and just doing a bit about making the balance check. It
He
doesn't
can
need
be
to.
the,
Soda's got it down, but I'm thinking about maybe Averine or Dal.
he can be there to catch. All right.
So yeah, I'll go to the roof.
Okay. Same again. Solid. All right. You managed to make your way across to the top. Roll a perception check, though. All right. As you are shimmying across, you see a dark silhouette in the water. It's a bigger creature than the large creatures you see at the front of the shrine.
That must be the daddy crocodile.
There is a
Oh,
large crocodile
That is the daddy crocodile.
swimming close to this position, and it positions itself underneath the rope with mouth wide open.
Oh no.
There's only 4 feet of water, isn't it? This has got to be like a fairly exposed.
He's big, he's visible.
Has he just got his eyes? Is he just like
No, at this point, his whole hind and mouth is up over the water, looking up, ready to catch whoever's next.
I could line
Grigori will
so
go
many
next.
chests.
Yes, so many chests. So, Grigori.
Grigori has a climber's kit, which I presume would include some sort of harness. So if he, slipped, rather than falling down, he would just flail and hang in the air.
Nice.
I hope. The climber's kit comes with pintons and some things for your hands and such.
A climber's kit includes special pitons, boot tips, gloves, and a harness.
Yay!
Use the climber's kit as an action to anchor yourself. When you do, you can't fall more than 25 feet from a point where you anchored yourself.
Oh, so I'd have to do an action. Well, just anchoring myself to the rope, where you just kind of hook into the rope, and then I can overhand, but my little, Does that make sense? In modern parlance, you'd have the carabiner on it, and which flows freely through the rope as you go. But there's no carabiners in the climber's kit, so I'll defer to the DM.
Yeah, it seems like this climber's kit is made for put it into the stonework, and then you can climb 25 foot, set a new one, and move from that point on. It's going to be a little awkward. You can anchor yourself to the rope, but if you drop, you're going to slide.
Sure, back. Slide all the way back ridiculously. I gotcha.
Okay. Athletics, since you're going to be going underneath.
Ooh.
I use luck. Wait. Well, I can't use luck. Never mind.
Can't use luck on this.
Can I do speak with animals?
Not now. He has to
now.
eat me first, then you can talk to him.
Also, just distract him.
As Grigori
Does Grigori
begins to
consider
fall.
Dissing an ally?
Oh.
Wait, this is the first climb check. So this is from the shore to the wall, and he's in between the wall and the building. So
Yes.
I can't even make it offshore. I get tied up in my climber's kit and I fall flat on my face.
The crocodile is going to make a leaping jump to try and get you.
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay.
As one would.
Does a 26 hit you?
My AC?
Yeah.
Double check. Yes, that hits me. If I had my cloak of protection, it would have missed it, but it's all in this. So.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
All right. So you will take not bad, not a high amount of damage, only 19 points of piercing damage
Sure.
as it bites into you. However, it holds on. You're restrained in the mouth of the big crocodile. We're going to roll initiative.
Oh no.
Awesome.
Oh no.
Oh, and everyone else is left on shore, 30 feet away.
Don't worry.
Except me.
Don't worry.
This is
I've got
going to
you.
be spectacular.
Zola is still close enough.
And Carmen, I guess, flew over already, right?
I'm in the air.
Someone's in the vicinity. Yeah.
Joe flew over.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm doing.
Dexterous giant crocodile.
how tall is the wall from the shore?
The climb is above the water. It's only about 5 foot above the water.
Okay.
So it's not much of a climb. I would actually imagine it more of a horizontal line from tree to bridge top, to wall top. Okay. So has everyone rolled initiative? I believe so. Top of the round, Zola.
I jump down into the water.
Thing's mouth. You jump down into the water.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, DM. Tower has an initiative of 19 and P-Jowls with 24. My bad. I didn't think the second.
Let me add Pijo in then. So what do you do when you drop into the water?
I am going to run around, make contact with Grigori, and then I will.
I mean, there is a rope. You could swashbuckle slide down on that thing. But...
And then I will use Bookmark to teleport both of us to the roof.
Oh.
All right. You can easily grab hold of him and pop back onto the roof with him. Okay. Free from danger. The crocodile is just going to sit there waiting to attack the next person that crosses. Do you guys deal with the crocodile, or do you try to get across without potential danger?
I drop a fireball on
Yes.
him.
P-Jowl's shooting.
All right. So if we're going to continue going, Pijo.
Hunter's Mark.
Okay.
Second. Oh, no, that's not one.
I thought that was a spell. But that's what we'll say that.
Okay.
So longbow attack on that thing. 27 to hit.
That's going to hit. 13 points of piercing damage.
We'll take the
And
hunt.
the hunter's mark, which will be 5, so 18.
Okay. Second attack.
Same as them.
18.
Nice. Another 11.
All right, Hunter's Mark damage and Colossus Slayer.
Okay. Anything else from Pijo?
Nope. He's
Okay.
he's gonna be having flashbacks of previous encounters where things have jumped out at him, and he's going to fly an extra amount of height.
Tower, you're safe on the shore.
Oh, did you skip Grigori?
Did I skip Grigori? I am terribly sorry. Grigori. Well,
'Cause Grigori-
Tower and Grigori can go at the same time, so you guys can choose who goes first out of the two of you.
Please. I'm trying to run two characters, so go for it.
All right. Grigori kisses Zola and says, and while he's kissing her, without even looking, he throws a fireball. So it's like this scenic, like there's the kiss, and then like a mushroom cloud behind them, just poof.
It's a very movie poster.
Indeed.
Okay. Go ahead and cast the
Is
spell.
Zola going to be too distracted for her next go now?
And I am going to do Empowered Spell because that is awful. And I'm going to re-roll 5. Actually, all 5. The max re-roll I can do.
Okay,
Let's see if
so
the new macro works.
It would be rolling 5d6, and then your add on top of that the highest 3 that you rolled, which would be 14. So 5d6 plus 14. About the same, honestly.
About the same. Sad.
Rolls.
All right.
Yep. All right, so the creature has to roll a dexterity saving throw, which it fails, taking 26 points of fire damage. Anything else from you, Grigori?
That is all for me.
Tower.
Still kissing Zola until the top of her turn. 6 seconds.
Power's going to feel a little bit inferior, and with his little reduced flame.
Go ahead and launch it at the crocodile. And the produced flame just kind of arcs and then plops into the water with a resounding. Right.
Nice.
Anything else from you, Tower?
No, I'm going to stay there. I'm
Okay.
I'm out of range. Well, I'm within. I would have stepped in with 30 feet and then moved back.
Okay. The giant crocodile has taken 60 points of damage in this one turn already. It's frightened. It's scared. It's not happy. It's actually going to run away. It's going to swim its full 50 foot and submerge itself under the water as it tries to.
There goes your box.
So, while it is still ran away, you guys don't necessarily have any sort of threat or danger and can easily get yourselves across up to the roof.
Easily.
So,
You said it.
easily such that no checks needed. Okay. Now, for fear of you guys seeing too much of the map by being positioned on top, I'm going to drop you back down here. Imagine you're actually on top of the roof, okay? You're not in the water. What do you want to do? There are crocodiles snapping all around you, but the big one has ran away.
Okay.
Is there anything to latch onto the roof using a grappling hook with the shingles? Can you beat it down in there?
You should be able to.
I'm just shooting Eldritch Blast at the crocodiles till they all decide to run away.
Just
I'm doing the same. Produce flame and just throwing it down there. Just trying to scare them off.
And slowly, one by one, the crocodiles will be scared and will leave.
No, go back.
There goes Averine's letter.
Not gonna get anything today.
You guys hook her up a grappling hook, and then start shimmying down the platform in front. The stairs in front of the shrine are small, very tight. They are covered in moss, so they're a little slippery. But you can make your way through.
Okay.
Who goes in first, I guess? Okay. So, stepping through, you can see moss is all over the place in this particular room, throughout the stonework. However, on the floor, there is clearly a mosaic drawn out in front of you. This mosaic floor depicts a tall bird using its long, pointy beak to pin a monstrous frog-like creature with tentacles sprouting from its shoulders. Set into the far wall on the other side of the mosaic is a set of heavy stone doors.
None of these creatures really like that frog.
Zola, thank you for your help and assistance.
My pleasure.
If the crocodiles are gone, perhaps we should look at the towers, the pillars outside, as they should have something on them worth looking at.
Definitely.
I presume it will be in Omo, in which you speak.
I'll go check that out, and if I see shapes in the water, I will get back.
I just go with her, and if I see a shape in the water, I shoot it with an Eldritch Blast. I don't even wait to see what it is. If I see a log or some dark shadow, just...
Averine. Oops. Okay. So.
Whoops, Averine in the water.
You guys go around, you look at the obelisk. You can see on this obelisk, again, imagery depicting the Iblis, Papazotl. Then in Old Omoan, the words Papazotl teaches us to bow before no one.
Says that the trick will be to not bow.
Well, my dear, you've done so well in the last ones to this point. I'm sure this one also will not be a trouble for you. And he kisses you on the forehead, and then they walk back together.
Feeling very good about myself now.
All right. So, huge stone doors in front of you. What are you guys going to do?
Definitely going to share that information first with everybody else about not lowering one's heads. And I guess check for traps and try the door.
Keep your head up.
So roll a perception check on the door. You don't see any traps. There's no locking mechanism. In fact, with all of the water damage in this particular space, the stone doors have the whole area around them. The doorway has shifted, and these doors, while they're not locked, they're not going to open with just a simple push. You're going to need a lot of strength to be able to push these doors open.
We need some elbow grease.
Allow me. Does anybody wish to help me?
Yeah, I'll help.
I've got no strength.
What is your combined strength score between the two of you?
Oh, we're not using... Well, there's strength and then there's athletics.
So combined strength scores.
I'm -1 on that. Or
No,
8, sorry. 8.
Yeah.
16.
That's why I went nowhere near it.
Okay. So 24 there. Okay. If the two of you would like to push on the door, you can do so. Roll an athletics check at advantage for whoever's going to roll it.
I will roll.
You're roll his tower and you'll get a better roll.
The dice want to kill Piju. Tower, he's okay.
Dice is against Piju.
That
Guys
was
also are not treating
huge
Grigori friendly.
athletics check, though. That was Tower's modifier, right? Okay.
Oh, 6,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
the two of you really struggle, and you can't get the door to shift.
Grigori will come up and help push.
So what's the total
How
combined
can't it
strength
shove
score
the
now?
tower back?
Mine's at 13, so 36.
So give it another try, Tower. Again,
No,
with
37.
advantage.
Okay.
Come on.
With now the combined effort of the four of you, so it is Tower and Zola in front of the door, Grigori pushing over Zola's shower, and Carmen grabbing
Tower's back.
Towers behind.
Tower's back.
Push.
It's giving the content
It's
away.
like that scene in Indiana Jones.
She is not going to
Oh.
feel. She's back.
I'm totally pushing my opossum out.
Fair enough. Well, there's another clip for the episode. You two grabbing one another again. All right. You, as the combined group, you push the door and it opens. The room beyond, you see a pedestal right there in the center of the room. Hooray! But
Hooray!
there is nothing on top of it.
Oh.
However, what you do see is there are 6 statues all around this room that kind of look in towards this pedestal. Going from left to right, left to bottom, clockwise around, each of these statues depict a bare-chested human warrior, probably Omuan, but with the heads of animals. Again, left to right, clockwise, bottom left starting. Lizard, jaguar, lobster, toucan, bat, and frog.
Right. Okay.
Around the base of that pedestal appears to be a carving, a plaque that has been placed on the base in front of, like a one big in front of the pedestal, written in common. Comes with sunshine, leaves with night, hides in darkness, does not bite, always joined to its caster, never strays from its master.
That would. It sounds like a shadow. Because we all know shadow comes from light. I've heard some debate about this topic from time to time.
That debate happens in the future in your recollection.
Is there light in the room?
No light other than that which you bring yourselves, which I believe no one is currently bringing, but okay. As
So
you
it's dark in the room?
it is dark. But as Tower creates a produced flame, creates light, you see shadows created behind each of the statues. Except, Zola, your passive perception is high enough to notice that there isn't a shadow being created against the wall behind the bat. The wall behind the bat doesn't appear to take any sort of shadow.
Something's up with that one. The middle one. It's lacking.
Is it an illusory wall? Perhaps it doesn't have shadow because the real light is passing straight through it.
Can I take a real close look at it?
Roll an investigation check. Or Arcana, either one.
Oh, I have the option. 20.
There is definitely an illusory wall behind the middle statue.
Another false wall. An illusory wall behind that statue.
I will check it for traps.
Roll a perception check. As you feel around it, you notice that the illusory wall actually covers the real wall, except for a 2-foot wide hole. Tiny little hole that creates a crawl space behind this statue. It doesn't appear to be trapped. It just appears to be really tight.
Whoa, guys, that's a real tight fit.
Tight for like our rogue, small rogue who get in there, or
I don't know.
tight that like
Bijou? Did he fit?
Tight that our fireball who can turn into a snake could fit in there.
I can also
well,
send.
yeah, I was gonna, I'm volunteering, but I'm trying to gauge how tight we're talking.
Do it like a doiga.
2-foot diameter sphere.
Wow.
So-
Then.
Tight squeeze. Zola could probably do it. Averine might be able to do it, but
I can send Aloando ahead if we'd like to take a look at what's on the other side.
Nice.
can do. Do you
Shall-
do so?
Well, then what are you waiting for, Averine? Send her forward. We haven't all day.
So I will shift my senses over to Aloando, and I will send Aloando forward.
As Aloando goes through, he enters into a crawl space that's actually quite wide, comfortable enough for a medium-sized person to be sat within this crawl space. I know I've moved you. It's actually Aloando, but it doesn't matter. This crawl space is empty, except there is a strange grid etched into the wall on the other side of the crawl space. Of this strange grid, a couple of these squares appear to be a little bit darkened than the rest. Roll an intelligence check, Averine.
22.
This grid seems to be made out of the same material, same kind of stone, which does not match the rest of the stone of the shrine, but it matches the same kind of stone as the plaque that you had seen previously.
Okay, so I will describe. All right. So there is an answer key, or a key to help us decode the message in the riddle. I cannot see the plaque while I'm looking through Aloando's eyes. So could someone tell me what is in the first and second, or someone start writing what is in the first and second positions on that plaque?
How do you mean?
Yeah.
We're not too sure what you mean.
So can we see the message we saw before? Or can they see?
We're
Should be
looking
able
at
to.
it.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I can't see it. All right. Oh, but they can't see the thing that I can see? Is that...
They can't
No.
see the grid, and because you are positioned where you're using the sight of Aloando, you can't see the other grid.
technology? I just thought everyone saw the same thing I saw. Okay. So imagine, if you will, a piece of paper with holes in it placed above the thing that you're looking at. Letters. So it would only show like several letters of the message beneath.
Cipher
you-
key.
So pretend that the first two letters are shown.
So
CO.
All
But
right.
there's not enough letters on top line.
All right. The key that I see has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Like
8
6.
rows. What does the message have?
You got 7 rows and you got 6 rows in the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, 7.
You-
Great.
You've got 7 rows, 6 lines of text.
Humor Averine, and
Okay.
Averine is about to call out specific numbers. Track through all of the digits within the handout and call out what you believe to correspond with the number Averine is going to call out. Okay?
So on the first row, 1 and 2.
CO.
Okay.
Okay.
On the second row,
Hint to make it easier on you, ignore spaces.
BES.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
On the third row, also 6. As well as 12.
I.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. N.
And
On the next row, 13.
there are only 11 letters on the fourth row.
Yeah.
Averine, make an intelligence check.
Thank you.
Maybe this is the row you skip.
I will use luck for that.
Use luck. Okay.
Did you roll your portents today?
I did. A
Three.
2 and a
That's
10.
12.
That's 12.
So, Averine, it's not worked, assuming that each row of your grid matches one single row of the riddle. Perhaps an alternative way of thinking about it is not in rows, just every single letter in a row. Okay, so the top line of your puzzle key has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Has 15 letters in it. So if it matches with what you've got, that's COMESWITHSUNSHI. Already the first row cuts over, and the next line starts with NELEAV. V is
Okay.
number 6. Okay.
So
let's try that
COV.
again.
All right, so letters 1 and 2.
CO.
And then 21.
V.
I believe it's an E. Hold on. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I think it's a V for 21.
All right, and then 36.
1, 2.
36.
I.
E.
Yeah, E.
And then 42.
R.
R.
I'm going to say, copy your heart. So let's be back. 57. Wait, 58.
What was the last one 46?
42.
So,
Forget. So the next after
T.
42.
Okay.
T. If it's 57.
I'm sorry, 58.
Oh.
E. I got.
Yeah.
And then 63.
Why?
Why?
Cover eyes.
It's 90.
CC3 to 90?
Yeah. What's the 90th letter?
All right.
E.
A. Okay.
E.
E. It's E.
Cover eye.
Is that the last one?
No, there's one more.
That's
Gotta be
just an
yes,
S.
Eyes. Cover eyes.
Oh, I don't know which E was.
102.
4 from the end.
Eyes. Yep.
Yeah, it'd be eyes. Okay.
So,
Tower's going to close his eyes and turn out the light and then reach in the middle of the plinth.
doesn't do anything.
Okay, let's try.
It's a good try.
Do we cover the eyes of the bats?
Yeah, I was about to say, Zola's gonna walk over to one of the statues and go like that. Don't look.
As you cover the eyes of one of the statues, you hear a slight shifting in metal. Not metal, in stone. But the pedestal doesn't change.
Gregory will go cover the eyes on whatever statue's next to one Zola's doing.
Another bit of shifting rock.
Next one along.
Yep. So each of you, conveniently, there are 6 of you and 6 statues. You each cover the eyes of one of the statues, and sure enough, as soon as the last one is covered, the stone pedestal completely shifts, breaks open, and drops to reveal the puzzle cube.
I didn't actually think that would work.
So,
It's so silly.
As I said, I had no doubt you would get through it well.
you collect Papazottle's puzzle cube.
Oh.
Sato.
Okay.
For the record, I think that Carmen had the exact same idea at the exact same time. I saw her going for one.
Okay. With that, having solved that riddle, having claimed another of these puzzle cubes, what are you going to do now? There was talk earlier about setting up some form of trap or dealing somehow with the kobolds. What are you going to do?
Before we do that, do you want to clarify who actually is holding on to this one?
Let's just put it in the bag with the others. Bag open.
So
Russ.
only 2 of them are in the bag right now.
Correct.
Is everyone comfortable with Grigori having 3 in his bag with the necklace?
I'm fine. I already have one, so.
Fair enough. Then
How
a
do I
third.
carry one?
The tower reckons that Gregory is the most likely to run away and not get captured. So
Oh, so he thinks it's a positive reason to keep it in the bag. I see. I thought he was going to lead with, I thought you were going to end that with, so I should have it. But, okay, yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Then Papazottle's puzzle cube goes into the bag.
All right.
So what time of the day is it?
This is fairly early. Well, early afternoon, I would say.
Okay.
After you've been walking around, you took an hour's break under the waterfall. You explored the Tomb of the 9 Gods a little bit.
Okay.
should we? Do you wish to deal with the kobolds? I could create lightning storm above and cause great commotion. Maybe the kobolds will come to investigate.
Are we talking about fighting a bunch of kobolds for their wood? Their firewood?
No, their knowledge and information about the shrines.
But mainly Avery wants their wood.
They will likely not leave their camp completely undefended.
Well,
They
and
will be going about their business.
the shrines that we have passed through without some level of difficulty, but not too much.
Well, you almost got eaten by an alligator.
I did indeed say that there was some difficulty.
That's an understatement. But if they can tell us like that, yes, this shrine also is missing its cube. This is a reason not to go through all the traps in order to, and not be disappointed when we get to the end and there's no cube there. Or this is how we bypass the traps so as not to not get eaten by things. I think it's worth it.
But we know whose cubes are missing. So we know which. So if we get an inkling of which shrine, which kind of god it's relating to, then we would surely go, well, we've got this one already, or we know about this one, so we wouldn't go into it as such. We just move on to the next one.
So we've got 4, right? 5.
Mhm.
We got 4.
Five.
You've got 5 now.
And Rasnisi has 1 to 6.
Yeah.
So there are 3 more that may or may not still be in the shrines. So they may tell us how to get through those traps and whether or not to even go because they know that the pieces are missing.
So we know if we get to a shrine with, forgive me, I don't know what the monkey, what the monkey was called, or Unk, we know that those cubes are not going to be in those shrines.
As well as
So it
potentially
depends on
others.
Yeah, it just depends on how desperate we are to find out a bit more about the other shrine. If we feel like we're going to struggle, or if Averine just wants to get some wood.
It's not just because Aberreen wants wood. The kobolds can tell us which shrines not to go to if they're missing their puzzle cubes.
Okay.
And it can tell us how to potentially tell us how to bypass their traps.
I don't think we're struggling with traps personally, but I'll go with group.
To be honest, I'm quite confident in our abilities. We do not need to attack these ones. But
Well,
if we do this, what is our next move?
Well, I would
Wait.
depend on what the kobold has to say. If we are able to apprehend them.
I still look at the map. Let's get back on dry land.
We have one location very close to the UNT camp. I would prefer to hit this one last. We could work our way back around and come in from the east.
You're thinking this one?
Yes. But we may encounter that group again that we stole the cube of earlier. That would be unfortunate.
So, to clarify, do you wish to avoid the kobolds? Or do you wish to try to apprehend one to get information from?
If they cross our path, let's nab one. But I don't know if anybody else wants to go hunting for them. If people feel like we should, then let's do it. But if one happens to be around where we are, then I don't see a problem with it.
I think the bigger issue is, while we have avoided it thus far, to get into the tomb, we will have to treat with Rasnisi. And I don't think we've given that any consideration.
Well, I think if we have all the other puzzle cubes, then we, as to Zola's point, we prove that we are capable. And if he is not happy with his current situation, then perhaps we can offer our services as a way to recover the final cube.
Zola, Roll the wisdom save.
Oh boy.
Okay, thanks.
So, as Carmel, what I'm hearing from you is that you'd rather not go out of your way to find the kobolds, but if we do come across them, deal with them. Is that right?
I'm just simply saying I don't feel such an urgency, but I don't mind. I'm quite happy to go with the majority of the group, but I'll keep an eye out, so I don't mind.
I would like to know, Zola, what you think we can do when we must inevitably meet Raz Nasi, unless we plan to sneak in and steal his cube, just as we did the cube earlier today.
What do you mean? I've already kind of laid out what I think.
I mean, other than just marching in and talking to them, are there any other plans, thoughts, concerns?
Well, I mean, if we had a lot more time, we could slip somebody inside, but we don't have the time. I'm talking about like having an inside man. That would be my plan B.
How about this then? We've spent some time and effort today exploring. My side really hurts at the moment. Perhaps we can go back to the Kobold campfire, claim it for ourselves, rest the night, and then see about speaking to Raz tomorrow.
I'm sorry, is that
Suggestion.
something we're wanting to do before we have all of our eggs in a basket, so to speak?
I believe the adage is not to put all your eggs in one basket. I'd just as soon not go visit Raz Nasi with all of the cubes on hand, so that he has no reason to keep us alive and can just kill us and march off to the tomb.
I've been thinking
happily.
about that too. Yeah.
I'd much rather go with fewer than all.
I suggest we do not go in with any. Or maybe one as proof. And it maybe should not be all of us.
Well, I don't think splitting the party is a good idea. Whatever else we decide, I'll say that part.
Would not be the
Just-
first time. Gregory has proven quite good at negotiating with evil beings. Maybe you can make a deal, Red One.
It's possible. Nonetheless, I would prefer to be in top form before doing that, and I am not now.
So then, are we to deal with the kobolds?
Do you wish me to distract and draw them away? Or do we just put down the group that does that?
I don't like their camp terribly much. So while Grigori, I could empathize with wanting to rest. Perhaps resting under the waterfall would be the better place to do it. And if all you seek is rest, then we wouldn't have to deal with the kobolds.
I was trying to find a reason to gather that wood for you, but I cannot argue that that is the superior plan.
Okay.
So is it the case that you guys are going to then go back to the waterfall and kill the evening and then sleep, wake up at dawn?
I don't think that's a wise expenditure of time. Perhaps if you want to just rest up for your wounds, then a short rest could be achieved. But then what will we do next?
Well, I can heal you. I can heal you. Don't suck the life out of me. I can heal you.
Oh, now would be a wonderful time to practice, don't you think?
Yes.
Well,
I don't know if I'm in the right state of mind right now to make approvals of those kind of decisions.
Split personality there, PJ. Yeah.
We've if we sat long enough to use some hit dice, have we sat long enough to do hit dice, DM?
Not yet.
All right.
This conversation has taken us 5 minutes. How could it take your characters even longer?
Lots more thinking. Well, perhaps we should get to shore first and go from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, making your way back to the shore, you can head north to the waterfall, south towards the crossing of the river that leads towards other shrines. Where are you going? You guys need to make a decision.
Perhaps we should go to our previous camp for the night.
We
And
could
you
head
can
back
rest.
to the other camp. We're
You
going
can-
back down
You
anyway.
can rest there, and then we can make our way to the camp before nightfall. Perhaps.
All right.
There's still a lot of day, though. I feel like it would be a waste to let it just slip all away.
How long does it take for us to travel the length of the sea? I've never really gauged the length of this thing.
In
When we get-
terms of real distance that you would be covering to go back to your last sleeping spot, you're covering.
It's like 500.
down
It's like
here.
700 feet.
It's like 700 feet. It's not a
Not
lot.
far.
You guys could get there in half an hour, walking slowly, stealthily.
Crossing the water seems dangerous. Why don't we walk back towards the crossing point? And if we run into things along the way, decide what to do then.
Thinking maybe we take a route like that, and then work our way back down to this crossing point and slip over to this one.
And who knows? Maybe run into some kobolds. Maybe run into some red banner people. Who knows?
Yellow.
Maybe we
Yellow banner.
if we
Flaming fists.
if we hit this one, then we can jump back over the river and rest. This area, our friendly man with the facial hair has said that this is full of our enemy. So perhaps we go back to one of our previous camping spots after hitting that temple.
Okay. Let's go.
So does
Did he follow us in?
No, but you've crossed the
We
water by
crossed
now.
back to the water.
Piju, where are you going to heal Grigori?
Yes, he was. Because he's a nice bird.
Okay. If you really want me to, and cast healing spirit.
I'll give him a little scritch as a thanks.
So if you stand in it for a minute, you will get the full benefits of the healing spirit. 10d6. Okay. 38 points back. So you should be back up to your maximum.
Yep.
Please.
Easily.
All right. Moving through the ruins, back along the path that Tower suggests. It's a solid path. It's a good idea. It's paths that you've taken previously, so you're able to hide in the same spaces, do a pretty good job of keeping yourselves hidden and keeping a good close eye on everything. You don't see the kobolds, but that's because your route takes you a little bit out of the way of their camp. You move down, you don't encounter the Yellow Banner people, but you walk past the camp that they were staying at.
So when we get past the stage where we encountered them earlier in the day, can Piju and Tower try and pick up the wagon tracks?
Roll survival check.
He's got the best
Your
one.
tower at the moment.
All right, so I'll roll with Piju. He's got a better survival than Tower, but with advantage because he's gain health. Yeah.
Yep.
Come on.
Nice.
Nice. You definitely catch a glimpse of the wagon tracks, and you can follow them. They are continuing south.
Okay, well, we're going that way anyway.
I've got them.
Yep.
They got shines.
You follow the tracks, and you follow the path. You continue to head southward. When you get about here, back near the shrine
Yeah.
that you had previously visited, you actually, and I would say Zola notices this more than anyone else. Uthbert would as well. Kind of stops, notices that you walk past a statue that seems like the other statues to Ubtao. Except this time it's two of them, stood on either side of a doorway into a ruin. It looks like you might have a temple to Ubtao within the ruins here.
Oh, heck, is that a temple to Uhtao? I'm going to start walking over it.
Okay. Do you go inside?
I will always check for traps first and then go inside.
Perception check. No traps that you can see, though the familiar wave of magic that you've recognized from the previous towers, the previous shrines to Ubtao throughout the jungle, as you walk through the threshold into the temple of Ubtao. Who else joins? Zola.
Grigori follows her in.
Grigori finds himself incapable of stepping over the threshold.
Zola, come here.
Yeah? Huh?
Touch on the forehead. You're invisible now.
You're
Have
not
fun.
close with her.
Have fun. Good luck.
Okay. Does everyone else follow Zola into the temple?
Yes.
Aye.
All right. Then, as Grigori remains outside, are you trying to hide the fact that you can't walk in there?
I'll keep watch. That's
Deception
fine.
check.
I'm going to ask him.
Because you actually tried to walk in and found you couldn't,
did.
so deception check. All right.
Nothing.
With a deception
Nothing.
of 10,
Nothing is going well for me today.
everyone knows there is a problem with Grigori, and for some reason he is trying to hide the fact that he isn't entering the shrine.
Just as a test, can I take his hand and see if I can pull it through?
You struggle to get his hand over the threshold.
Come on. We do not leave man behind, and we're not splitting the party. And I'm going to put transition.
I think it's quite obvious that Ubtao does not wish for my presence, but he does wish, at least for Zola's.
No, I don't. I can't believe that it's Uhtao that's keeping you out. I can't believe that. He admires all different kinds of peoples and things. Like, it's diversity that fuels him.
Technically, I've got advantage. She's pulling him as well.
Am I flanked?
No amount of pulling will pull Grigori into the shrine. Something about the nature of it. The magic feels like a normal shrine's magic, but in this occasion, Grigori's not being allowed entrance.
Well, Zola, investigate and find out why.
Okay.
You're invisible now, so
I think
just saying that to thin air. But
I'm still here. Okay, now I'm not. See ya.
I will keep guard outside, and I'm sure my voice will carry, even if I cannot. So please, carry on. Keep Zola alive.
Uthbert, are you coming in?
Should I?
Would you like to keep me company, Uthbert?
He asked the guy that killed him.
He'll suck the life out of you, of course.
But somebody should keep him company.
Why
You
why we are not
Alright.
the only ones protecting you from him?
He steps through the threshold.
And when Tower says
from
that, we're the
Grigori.
only ones protecting you from him. Grigori like gives an ominous look to try and like and reinforce that thought that being out here alone with Grigori might get him killed.
Right. Ufbert enters the shrine. We will find out why Grigori can't cross over into the shrine to Uptau next week on Crituitous RP. So join us again while we are adventuring through this this moment. A reminder, a thank you, first of all, to Lucky Hidan for subscribing to us 3 months in a row. We really appreciate that. We feel the love. We really feel the love. So thank you. We would like to remind people that tomorrow night we have the Half Rate Heroes stream, and then the following days will be the rebroadcast of this game and tomorrow's Half Rate Heroes. So if you enjoy our stream, check out tomorrow night's as well. We'll see you all next week. Good night.